Welcome back, watch people. Now, as we approach the end of 2023 and in a rapidly changing luxury watch market, this afternoon I've got some very important questions that we're going to try and answer for you. Like, which Rolex watches currently offer the best value for money right now, and where is your money best spent? Which models are still on a dip? And what is the best advice that you can follow as we approach 2024? Now, helping me out today is my good friend, Spencer Dyer, Managing Director of BQ Watches, one of the UK's largest independent watch retailers, and who carries millions of pounds of watches in stock, and who has his finger on the Rolex price pulse every single day of the week. Spencer, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Paul. Thank you for disturbing me from my day, but here I am.
Always a pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure. Look, Spence, I think first of all, we want some real clarity this afternoon. We're looking for an unbiased and accurate assessment of exactly where we are. First of all, where are prices right now?
Prices are substantially less than they were this time last year, without question. But what I'm finding is the bargain hunters, of things where people said I can't pay that money, and now paying it because things are that much less. I mean, you got certain sports models that not that much over list, like on the subs, 11, 12,000.
Yeah.
Things that were at 14s and 15s. Batgirl and Batman, extremely popular. I'd say the Batgirl probably slightly more. All of your regular suspects at sort of under the 20 grand mark are extremely busy.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that a little bit later. I mean, Spence, do you think, in your honest opinion, that the dip we've experienced has come to an end, or is there still a slight downward trend?
I don't feel month on month things are moving that much. I think it's pretty stable at the minute. But some of the big pieces, I mean, we last month sold sort of meteorites, GMTs. I mean, the highs of the 75 and 80,000s now at sort of below 47,000.
So, as I said in the opening, you've got your finger on the Rolex price pulse every day. Which watches or which models would you say potentially are still dropping? Are there any that you feel are still dropping?
I'd say the gold pieces.
Across the board, or is that excluding any models?
No, I'd say people are still looking and being offered the gold pieces on a regular day-to-day basis. I get a call from someone saying, I've just been offered a Sky Dweller on Oyster Flex. What will you pay me for that? And these pieces are getting under. Almost all of the Oyster Flex on the Yachtmaster as well. They're available to buy on the open market at 2023 at less than list. So anyone trying to buy these at list, and that brings me on to say about the exhibition only. I wonder if they'll get a new plaque made, okay? Purchase only, not exhibition.
I don't know. Well, it sounds like you haven't caught up my video from yesterday, Spence, because they were my.
No, I did watch.
Oh, you did see it. Okay, yeah, they were my sentiments exactly. So look, we've both been in and around this game for a long time now, and far too long to try and kid anyone. How close are we today, do you think, as we approach the end of the year? How close are we to being back to what I would call the 2015 normality?
Well, 2015, Paul, if my memory serves me right, back in those days, I was giving 25% discount off gold. And I could even supply a new sub at 10% discount.
So we're still a long way from that then.
I don't think we're going to be ever seeing that again. And again, with hindsight, people look at and say, wow, like that was incredible. I remember a number of people I knew were buying gold Daytonas from me. At the time, they retailed at 25,000 and we were selling it at sort of 18,000.
Yeah.
That was an all gold, unused.
Happy days.
Yeah. I don't think we're getting back to that, but we're certainly not in the dizzy heights of where we were and the craziness where you just bought things and next week they were worth more.
Would you like to get back to those days, Spencer, or do you prefer it the way it is now?
I think I preferred it the way of 2015, 2016.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That was my philosophy. So let's start with, put some meat on the bone. If you've got like 10 grand to spend right now and you're looking for a Rolex, where would you advise people spend their money?
10 grand, you've got the Milgauss, you've got an on-date sub, you've got a choice of quite a few steel Datejusts. Yeah, you've got a nice selection of pieces. Don't get me wrong, they're still, if you think back, Paul, to 15, 16, far more than they were, but they're nowhere near the numbers they were of sort of May, June 22.
I think more importantly, we know what's available for that sort of money, but I think my question was more, what would you recommend? If let's just say, I don't know, a family member rung you up and said, Spencer, I've got 10 grand to spend. What do you think I should buy?
Explorer 2 or an on-date sub, if on sports side.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
That's what I'd say. I think the Explorer 2 is a phenomenal value. Yeah. They really are.
And under 10 grand, if we was under 10, where would you, what would you advise?
You got a choice of some Datejusts, the steel bezel, not the white gold bezel, Datejusts, in the 36 or the 40.
Yeah. Explorers
214-270s. Yeah. I mean, they're extremely good value now. It's sort of 6,000-7,000.
I've always tried to point people in the direction personally of, the older 5-digit model reference numbers. How are they performing?
Do you know something? We just don't get enough of them. I mean, the 16610, the earliest sub, is still a popular piece. The 16579, the Explorer 2, the earlier case, still very, very popular.
So something in good condition, let's just say, I don't know, a 14060 or 16610, something that's really nice, tip-top condition, definitely worth buying. What's that going for?
You're looking sort of 7,000 to 9,000. See, this is the thing. The ceramics are not that much more these days. And it's a bit of a balance. And like you'd say, in terms of growth or near a vintage, the 16610, if you got a nice piece with everything.
Yeah.
But if a day-to-day, the feel and look of the newer model in the ceramic is also nice. Depends what you're buying it for.
So I think we're probably singing for 10 grand or just under, we're probably singing from the same song sheet. If you can get into a still sports model, I think that's where your money's best spent personally. But I would add a caveat to that, Spencer. I think that condition, I had a gentleman email me this morning and he gave me 2 model reference numbers, both 5-digit. Which one should I buy? And I said, look, there's no wrong answer, but really the condition is everything. Which of those watches is in the bad condition? And I think that's always important.
Yeah. I mean, just moving on, slightly offbeat of that, you got the Sea Dweller, which are 9,000-10,000, which, as I know, you always like for a big watch.
Yeah.
One of my all-time popular classics that I've always loved is the 116600, the Sea Dweller 4000.
Yeah.
It's a bit like a blown-up Submariner without a date bubble.
Yeah.
For want of a better word, but it's just a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I wanted to particularly explore the 10 grand and below sort of price level today is because that's the figure that people keep writing to me about. They keep mentioning, if I can get to 10 grand, what should I spend? Or I want to stay under 10 grand. And I think there's a big audience out there right now that could probably do with some good, honest, professional advice when they're spending that sort of money. So that's why I really wanted to sort of concentrate on that level today. Where else could we point? What other direction could we potentially point people? What direction would you say? I mean, we can talk about Rolex, we can talk about other brands if you want, but let's, for today at least, or for this part of the video, keep to around the 10 grand or possibly under. My own view is always, firstly, to buy a watch that you love and don't follow a fashion. But secondly, if you can find your way into the Rolex brand, if you can buy your way into that, I think from a longevity viewpoint, it's probably the soundest advice.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you. I think I mean, look, I'm a big fan, you know that, and always wear all of those pieces. A little bit over that is still the Hulk, which is still popular, but nowhere near where it was at 15, 16,000. You'll get a Hulk, whereas we know they were sold 20,000. So that's a 20% saving. And also the earlier 1165-20 Daytona.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the message is that there's still value out there. You've just got to look for it. You've got to approach the purchase right. I mean, how are people coming to you these days, Spencer? Are they realistic when they're buying? Are they making big offers? Are they trying to sort of lowball you? Give me a feel of what's going on in the selling world.
Picture, a lot of people are realistic, as always, Paul. I mean, even back, what was it, 28 years ago when you were watch dealing? Was it that period or a little bit earlier than that?
Queen Victoria,
are unrealistic, and you at times, it's just managing people's expectations. And at times, if someone comes to me and they say they've been offered a price, and I say, whilst I'd like to believe you with it, that if a watch is retailing at 10,000 and someone tells me they've been offered 11.5, I don't think it's achievable. And quite often than not, they come back to me and say, oh, they made a mistake or something else. Look, we know where the market is. Gone are the days where you got people paying 11,500 for something that's on Chrono for 10,000. I just don't think it happens in 2023.
How are you managing customers' expectations when they're both buying and selling right now? Because, things have changed. So how are you managing their expectations?
Look, it's just showing people where certain things are. I mean, obviously, you've always got clients who have bought at the peak, and there's some pain there of obviously selling things. And some people say, well, I'm not selling, it will go back up. That's fine. They might be right. They may be waiting a long time. But equally, if they no longer like the piece and they want something else, you've got to take the...
Unfortunately, a little bit like cars and bikes. I mean, look, watches really, thankfully, for most of us at least, have managed to retain their value in most instances, and in a lot of instances actually grown in value. I wish I could say the same things about some of my other hobbies.
Yeah, exactly that. But equally, sometimes, if you've bought from an AD, although you saw some ridiculous paper prints, should we say, of what things were going, we can all look back and say, oh, it was worth this or was worth, but it's the 1st of November 2023. Things are worth what they're worth today.
Yeah. I think we will also discuss another word that a lot of people raise their eyebrows at. There's a couple of things I want to talk to you about. One of them is profit margins, and we'll come to that a little bit later. Long-term investment, Spencer, people still like to hear about it, still like to talk about it. I've written down a couple of notes here before we started this video. And if you're still looking to long-term invest, if you can buy at the right price, and I must emphasize the word if, I've written down Deep Sea Challenge, left-hand drive GMT, the Pepsi GMT, and the Titanium Yachtmaster. Would you agree with those?
I agree with every single piece you've said there.
And would you add anything to that or take anything away?
Would I add anything to it? I'd certainly agree with all of those. I'm just trying to think of what else. I'll tell you what else I think will be a special piece, although they're not doing phenomenal at the moment. The Jubilee bracelet, new GMT. I mean, again, the gold, I think that's a bargain at least. I mean, okay, if we went back 18 months ago, Paul, you've got the gold 1267 1/8, is it? The yellow gold GMT on the Jubilee, £33,000, selling at 33, 35, around this. Now, if we think back 18 months ago, I spoke of the Sprite being the Sprite, the Riddler, the green left-hand GMT. I spoke of that, of me opening my mouth saying I paid 35,000. I said that was a 40,000 pound watch. So look how the change has been 18 months on. And now you get a gold version, all right, right-hand drive, not left-hand drive, of the same piece at 5 to 7 grand less than what I was quoting.
Yeah.
And again, I don't like that watch, and I've made it very clear I don't like it, but I do think that is one for a long-term investment.
Yeah.
Because I think it will be discontinued.
Yeah, I mean, we'll touch on that very briefly. I mean, there's talk of the Sprite being discontinued. There's talk of the Pepsi GMT 126710 being discontinued. Do you think that that's a possibility? One, both?
I do. I'm not. I don't know when it'll be, but I do think they'll both be discontinued. But my next question after that will be: there's got to be something to replace it.
Yeah, that has to be a Coke, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's got to be a Coke or a right-hand drive green bezel. Before
we get into a topic that I want to discuss, which is profit margins, and I hope you won't mind us talking about that. I just want to ask you: do you think that as we get to the end of the year, Spencer, I know a lot of people are potentially at Christmas, they've got, you know, bonuses, etc. Early New Year can be busy. I just want to try and leave the viewers under no uncertain terms today, as in like what they should be doing with their money. So as a highly respected professional watch dealer, what would your final bit of advice when it comes to buying, what would it be right now for them? Mine is always condition, choosing your seller very carefully, and you know, basically those are the two main things for me.
Sure, well, exactly what you say. Pick something that you like. If it goes up, is a bonus, and choosing the seller who you're buying the watch from as a retailer. Look at them and think of the service they're offering you and where they'll be in the future. I mean, we've been in this business for over 20 years, and that for me is most important. As you know, Paul, the new showroom, and this car's still hopefully going in very soon, and it's got to be here in a month's time, as you know, and you'll be over here, and hopefully everyone else will come and see us. That's the most important thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're always saying how important it is to invest in your seller, and you know, I think you'd be the first person to admit, Spencer, look, you're not the only person in the world that we say you can trust. You know, there are a lot of good dealers around. So this isn't about necessarily just about Spencer and BQ Watches. This is about honest advice to anyone, wherever they are in the world, is choose your seller very carefully. Do your research on the watch you're buying, look for condition. And finally, I'd say don't rush into things.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. Let's talk about profit margins for a minute, Spencer, because there's been quite a lot of talk recently about dealers having to justify what they make on a watch and to keep their businesses afloat. I'm interested to know what your opinion is, because I'll say this. I used to say quite loudly and unashamedly that my profit margins on my watches back when I was dealing, and I go back to the years, or let's say between 2010 and 2015, I used to look at about £500 a watch, which was quite a small margin, but I sold a large volume of watches. Now, things have changed since then. I understand that. But why do you feel that in the watch business, unlike any other business, for me, we have to try and justify the amount of profit that we make in a watch, or is left in a watch for us? Why is that, do you think?
I don't actually. Do you know something, Paul? Call me old-fashioned. Over the years, you know, sometimes you see a car, or me and you go for motor, and people tell you what it's cost them, or they want their money back. It's never really been my style. I come to work to make money and sell things what I consider at market price, but with the warranties and guarantees I give is justified. Okay, so since obviously the Watchmaster, the Consignment, I know there's a lot of talk of people saying don't do consignment. I think consignment's a very good model. Consignment or commission sale has gone on in the car world, the bike world, and houses. If you think an estate agent typically sells a house on a commission, okay? He doesn't buy the house, he sells it on a commission and charges a fee.
Yeah.
I think, and obviously we took over Watchmaster, which gave me a massive insight into the commission sale, commission, consignment. Didn't really know as much about it. I think it's a fantastic model. What it does is makes the seller and the buyer, so we're working together to market their watch. We give them the advice of what's going on in the market. We price the watch to sell for them, to get them a good end, to put the watch on the wrist of an end user. But equally, the watch we're selling, we must make sure that we're delivering a good watch.
Yeah, because the sales process is only the first part of it, isn't it? You got to warrant it, etc. Since you took over at from the Watchmaster scenario, can you give us an idea of roughly how many watches of theirs that you took on a commission basis that you sold?
Well, we took 1,500. I think we've got over 1,000 that went on commission, and about 650 of those have sold. So
wow.
We're quite used to dealing with the customers, selling the watch. So what happens is customer brings the watch in, we give them a fair evaluation of the market, we give them an estimated commission of what we will charge. We explain to them that we are spending £1,000 a day on marketing their watch, on Google, on Chrono 24, on different platforms. And we charge them typically upwards of 15% sell a watch. The typical charge is 15% is what we charge. And then that's the fee they pay. When the watch is bought in, if it does need a service or a polish or any refurbishment work, we quote them for that. We then go and get the work done. We don't charge them, that comes out of the sale. It then goes on our platform. Then when we get a sale or we get an offer on the watch, we advise them of the offer, we discuss with them. We then tell them that if they want to go ahead with it, we then take the payment, which again can be risky, like you know nowadays with credit cards and transfers and all sorts of different things. And transfers have fees, Chrono 24 have fees. So all of their fees come out of that. And then we transfer the money to them. The watch is fully insured, the shipping's insured, everything's insured whilst it's with us. So it's a bit more work than what people first think, but that does give them the best return. Yeah. Equally, we'll gladly buy a watch. We'll gladly buy watches, not a problem.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's good for you to point it out because, you know, I did a video a few weeks back saying that for me, of all the ways of currently selling your watch, if you choose your buyer right, and again, Spencer, it's always vital for me in particular to point out any caveats. You know, look, commission selling is fine. And for me, is one of the best ways of relinquishing your watch and getting the best return for it, as long as you choose the right buyer and as long as it's, as long as you choose the right dealer to do the commission sale for you. That's the most important thing. That's the big caveat.
Absolutely. But Paul, you know, as I do years ago, you know, if you had a high street store and you just had a jewellery shop in a high street, you're only relying on your current people. Nowadays, with this product called the internet and websites, you've got to market just because you put stuff on the web. And often people say to me, well, I can do that myself or take the photographs. But you've got to take the photographs in the right way. You've got to market it. You've got to list it. The other thing, people are a lot more hesitant now to buy from private individuals. And equally, I think private individuals need to be careful when selling because they don't know who's turning up at their house or place of work or wherever they're meeting them to sell the watch.
Absolutely. So as we approach the end of the year, Spencer, are you expecting, you know, what are you expecting in November, December? Traditionally busy months for us in the watch business.
Absolutely. November, December, generally busy. Looking forward to a busy end of year. But just going back, Paul, on the commission side, I had a client, I only phoned up yesterday. He had 12 pieces to sell and I called him up and it's only been a little over a month and we've got interested in 3 of his pieces. But If you just put it in a shop window or you advertise on eBay,
Yeah.
you're in amongst a load of other people and you've got no real special features of why you're selling. When you've got a website and you've got the follow-up of what we have as a company, that helps sell the piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Spencer, later this month, a couple of weeks, I believe, just over a couple of weeks, you and I fly off to Dubai for Dubai Watch Week. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah. The only problem is that I've got to go with you, and the viewers here, they know what they know what I mean. Only the other week, what was it, last week, where we go out and you put me in a white coat and then it's all over Instagram. That's the only problem I've got with going away with you. I've got to be I feel like I need a bodyguard with me to protect you. But no, look, Paul, it should be great. Always, you know, nice to see what's going on. And you never know what you're going to get or who you're going to meet. I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
Exactly. So, guys, Spencer and I will be spending all of our time and indeed some of our money going all the way to Dubai to bring you some coverage from the Dubai Watch Week. If we can take the time to do that, please take the time to hit the subscribe button. And that's the least we can ask. And make sure you follow us. Spencer, before we go, any quick tips or any gut feelings for 2024 in the watch world? I know it's early and I'm catching you off guard, but is there anything that comes to mind?
Well, I think there's got to be a new GMT. And I'd like to think it'll be a Coke.
Yeah.
Without question. Besides that, I don't know. There's far more knowledgeable people and speculations out there than myself. But I just look forward to what comes. As we know, some years we get a boring year, some years we get excitement. I mean, we've still got to see a lot of the stuff that's coming out this year.
Yeah. I gather you got your first titanium yacht master.
I have. And again, if anyone wants to see it, I've got that piece. It's stunning. Again, it's a stunning piece. I love the piece on. When handling it, I feel like it's like a swatch. If I'll be honest, my only disappointment is handling it not on the wrist, Paul. You know, like we pick up Richard Milles and things. That's my disappointment, but I love the look of it on, and I think it looks super cool.
You feel it's too light? You feel it's too light?
What it is, with titanium, you know, like the Deep Sea Challenge, it's a big watch. So it's so big that in titanium, it's heavy, but it's probably the weight of a sub. With this titanium Yachtmaster, I believe it weighs about 100 grams. I mean, we're going to put it on the scales here and double check it. Apparently a sub is 170.
Wow.
So that gives you an idea. It feels like you haven't got anything.
Yeah. But that is, I mean, if you're a fan of titanium watches, that is its party trick, right? It's a lot lighter
you
than
look at it and you go to pick it up and it feels just, it's missing something.
Yeah. Spencer, as always, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you very much for coming on the show today, guys. If this is your first time to the channel, my name's Paul Thorpe. You've been watching Spencer Dreyer from BQ Watches, one of the UK's leading and largest independent watch retailers. BQ Watches, always happy to help you. Spencer, thanks very much for coming on, mate, and we'll speak shortly.
Thank you. All the best.
All the best, mate.